Okay, so nothing really puckers my butthole like a big community of people getting together and acting all pompous and pretentious as if they think they're better than everyone else. And I'm ashamed to admit that I'm part of one of the biggest communities in that section, the food community. Now, I've been cooking longer than I can even remember, maybe since I was 3 or 4, and I'm not using that as a justification or saying I know more than anybody. I'm just using it as a reason why my eyes have been opened to all of this behavior in the culinary community. Okay, I take back what I said a second ago. I don't care if people really think they're better than everyone else. I just think it's annoying when they make it painfully obvious that that's their mindset. And I'll go as far as to say 99% of the people in this group don't have that mindset. I'm just going to be talking about the one thing that makes people seem that way, the words they use. It's at this point that I realize this is a really dumb and pointless take, but I was just watching an Adam Ragusa video and I wanted to talk about it. But there are just so many chefs online that use completely redundant words to explain things that they could do in a much easier way. And that only applies to certain words in the culinary vocabulary, like mise en place, al dente, julienne, au jus, au gratin, the 3 different names for green onions. It just ends up confusing people more than helping them. When I was in high school, I saw a kid try to flex his culinary knowledge on a girl to impress her, and his attempt to be suave devolved into him trying to convince this girl that a chive was a green onion. It doesn't make much sense to have so many names for one thing that it confuses people and gets them to end up calling it something that it's not. And don't get me wrong, I completely get when it's words like sauté, roux, or to flambe or confit because those are their own things. It would be redundant to simplify it anymore. When it gets to the point of using a word such as cartouche for putting a piece of plastic or tinfoil on a pot or pan as a makeshift lid, that's what gets me to pucker hard. Really, why would you say you want to cartouche this pot when you could say, if you don't have a lid, put a piece of tinfoil over it? Instead of saying you should FAA these green beans, just say cut the ends off the green beans. It's really not that hard. It would probably be even simpler for the person reading the recipe to understand if they didn't have to look up the definition of that weird word that you use to cut the ends off of green beans. Really can't determine why people, at least in the English language, would use these words that are in different languages like French, that's the primary one, in order to say what they need to do with these carrots or whatever. It'd be so much easier to say chop the carrots into sticks. Because I've had this happen on more than one occasion. They'll say julienne these potatoes or julienne these carrots, and I just, I have to go look up what julienning is and then learn the whole process when they could just say cut it into sticks and simplify it. It just pisses me off when I have to go on a learning expedition when I just want to make some french fries. And I think it makes it even harder for newbies to come into the culinary world because they have this behemoth of a new vocabulary in front of them that they have to learn instead of just being able to follow simple instructions, which is what it should be, in my opinion. And just to clarify, I'm not saying that use of any other language but English in cooking is bad. I'm saying that when it's completely, it doesn't matter what language you're talking about, it's completely redundant to use a different language in order to describe these simple things, like julienning, which is to cut into sticks, or saying something is al dente when you could say a little underdone. Okay, imagine if I went to Zimbabwe and I was teaching somebody how to cook, and I told them that the only way you were allowed to refer to deep frying something is to say deep frying in English, and that they're not allowed to refer to it in their native tongue. And that's exactly what's happening in modern mainstream culinary culture. You have to casually use these words and have it be second nature, or else people are going to think you don't know how to do stuff as well as other people that do use those words. Okay, that's about all I have to say about that. And I want to go off on a little tangent while I'm on the topic of food. So, you know how when you're looking up a recipe, you have to scroll to the very bottom of the page in order to get to the ingredients and steps you need to follow the recipe? And it tells the author's entire life story before you can get to that part. I absolutely hate it when a recipe website is more of a blog than a place you get recipes from. I saw this one before, and this lady was talking about her trip to Tijuana with her husband Sage and her dog Saffron or something. And she was talking about how she didn't have a stove and how she only had options 1, 2, and 3 on her oven or whatever. and that she wanted to make cookies and that she found this amazing cookie recipe online, except the only difference between that cookie recipe and this cookie recipe was that she cooked it in this terrible oven. I shouldn't have to traverse the valley of ads and pop-ups in order to get to the recipe I need, let alone read the entire story of somebody's vacation to Tijuana that I don't care about. I'm just trying to make cookies and feel bad about myself in 45 minutes. Give me a break. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I hate how pompous the culinary community is, and I don't like how they think everybody cares about their personal lives. Peace.